Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is September 5th, 2023. So the news is sponsored by Analogue Spotlight, a group of photographic retailers and manufacturers who have joined together to support analog photographic media and help keep analog photography thriving worldwide. The brands are Cameradactyl, Cosmo Foto, Chroma Cameras, Reveni Labs, RealitySoSubtle, Intrepid Cameras, Pixl-ltr, Broken Film Camera, ONDU Cameras, Standard Cameras, 20th Century Cameras, Pictoriographica, Analogue, Wonderland, Cinestill, Large Format Camera Store, Carmencita FilmLab, RH Designs, Ars Imago, and Alvandi Cameras. So the news has been in a weird hiatus. You watched the last one with Destin from Smarter Every Day in Alabama. Thank you again, Destin, to his family and everybody I met in Alabama. It was amazing. But the news is back to what it usually is, me in a tacky suit talking about film photography because everybody knows that it's super cool. So, first of all, in the time I've taken off the news for a little while, there's a new film news in YouTube. So this is something to celebrate. There's a channel called Eclectachrome, Molly Kate, who does the news and reviews and some stuff on 35mmC, has jumped on board to cover analog film news on YouTube, which is a great thing. I've been doing this for I don't know how many years. I've always felt that I would love if someone else would take over. She's starting and doing it. I kind of still like doing the news, so I will continue doing the news for the time being. But knowing that there's someone there, if I lack consistency, is really nice. So I would happily recommend you go and follow. It's always better to have more than one source of news with anything in life, and even more film photography, because there's a lot of things coming around that we don't see. So I'll leave the link below to her channel. You can go and basically congratulate and watch and subscribe and all that to Eclectachrome. Took me a while to find that name because I was subscribed, but I couldn't remember how to write the name. So second piece of news that's pretty exciting is Photopia Fair in Hamburg is happening again. Now in September, the 21st to the 24th. I will be there physically doing interviews and doing talks and stuff like that. I have been asked to go there in Nico's photography show persona. Last year I went as work, so for work. It was a super fun fair. Obviously Photokina is dead, so Photopia is trying to replace it in a way. And the whole theme of the fair was amazing. It was all container ships. And if you are around Hamburg, Hamburg's a city that's super cool. I found it really scruffy, but really fun. I highly recommend you go there. Also, Jason from Grainy Days is going to be there. So we're going to have a talk with him, a photo walk and all this stuff. So I highly recommend you go. Obviously, I have been invited to go, so I would want you to go. But there's tickets on the link below, and there's a code called PH, Photopia basically, 23 Chrome with K, and Chrome, which is the store that's organizing the analog corner. There's a whole analog corner. Jobo's going to be there. Ferrani is going to be there. I know Adox is going to be there. Valoy is going to be there. I will be there, and other players are there. Chrome, obviously, with some buying and selling cameras. But there'll be interesting talks and things happening while the fair is happening. So, highly recommend it. You can buy your tickets and get €5 off if you buy them with the coupon that I just gave you, but it's in the link below. Alfie Cameras is now open to pre-order. So Alfie Camera, if you don't know about it, is a half-frame new camera being made by Alfie himself. And this camera has a cool thing because it's medium half-frame. It has 4 lens turret, so you can turn the lenses and choose different lenses, from pinholes to a double Gaussian something lens to, you can check it out. It's pretty cool. But also, one of the lenses that was going to be the good lens has actually been improved to being a better lens. And I air quote it because I haven't seen much more from it, and I've seen some results, but I think it's kind of a cool project. Camera's super, super small, and I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't checked their Kickstarter, which ended. Now you can do pre-orders. Then Leica M6. In the tradition of the Leica M6 special editions, we are back with a Leica M6 Auction edition, Lights Auction edition. There's like a black paint Auction version with some special leatherette and a Noctilux, I think, lens. The price of the whole kit is around 20 grand, which is funny because you add the price of the lens and the price of the body, it's pretty much there. So the price is not that hefty compared to buying those two elements separated. So if you're into collecting, obviously they made only 20, so you're way too late to buy this. But if you're a collector and you have enough money to buy this kind of stuff and maybe put yourself in front of the queue paying 3 times more, I highly recommend you check it out. It's kind of a cool black paint M6. And then we have one of our supporters of the channel, RealitySoSubtle, with a 4x5 tube camera. So this is a tube camera, basically like a PVC tube camera that has lids and has a pinhole in the middle, and you can put paper inside, I guess film too, and shoot pinholes. So this is pretty cool. It's available now. I'll leave the link below. Then Lomography has released the 92, like the year 1992, apostrophe 92, in 120 format and 110. This was news in 35mm a couple weeks ago, but now it's also released in 120 and 110. That's pretty cool for those who shoot 110 because it's kind of a dead per se if it wasn't for Lomography format. So good for Lomography to keeping 110 alive, and 120 obviously more choices in color, and 120 is amazing. One thing I don't know, because I thought 92 was kind of looked like Orwo, is if 92 is Orwo film, 120 Orwo color is new. And I don't know if this is Orwo. I'm saying this out of just completely no news, no relation, nothing. Just my feeling. But it's pretty cool. Either way, 120 film, color, Lomography 92. Then we have FilmLab Desktop 3.0 is out. So FilmLab app, as you know, is a converting. We have here some film that we could convert. So when you're scanning, converting, but this is for a desktop. There's the version 3 for Mac available now with a bunch of features that I highly recommend you check out. And for PC, and this is a standalone program on your computer. You don't need Lightroom. You don't need anything else. It's a program you install on your computer and you can convert images. Obviously, it has like a trial period, which you can test it out. And Abe has done a great job at keeping this a very functional thing. And it's not a big team, so, you know, big thumbs up to him and the people behind it and creating FilmLab app. Then we have the other Ilford with a color half-frame camera. And when I say the other Ilford is Ilford, once again, there's two of them. It's super confusing. There's the one in the UK, Ilford Photo, that's Harman Technologies, that is actually called Harman nowadays because of the bankruptcy of Ilford back in the day, is the one making black and white film, black and white paper, amazing HP5, FP4, Delta, all this stuff, have nothing to do, except for the name, with this Ilford that is a different company that does like inkjet paper and I don't know, all kinds of digital stuff, or for digital printing, not so much chemical printing. But they've been hopping onto the name and the color. So this color film, half frame camera is a point and shoot kind of disposable camera. It is half frame color. It has 27 exposures, with ×2 is 54. So if you're into that, but remember, you're not helping the Ilford that makes black and white film, black and white paper. You're helping a company that has really no ties into film photography. That's my say. Then we have Pentax. Pentax has opened up a bit more about the film camera project. There's a whole interview in Petapixel that is like long as long could be. I've read some of it. There's some interesting standpoints, as in the project is yet not given a green flag to release the camera. They're working towards doing that, but they're not sure if they will. One of the main concerns seems to be what's the market size and what's the market film. So like how much film is available, because as you understand, making a new film camera in 2023, 2024 is a huge commitment if there is no film after. So consider that. So that's interesting. I highly recommend you check it out. You're going to need a lot of time to read it, but it's very interesting. Then we have Reflex light meter. Reflex has been doing all kinds of cool films based, I think, in China, and also bulk loaders and auto loaders and all these things, but they've made a light meter. So the light meter is basically one of those hot shoe, cold shoe light meters. This is becoming increasingly popular due to a lot of the light meters on vintage film cameras are dying or very unreliable. And believe me, I work at a camera store here in Finland, And when we check light meters, they're overexposed to stop, or underexposed to stop, or exposed to stops, but the camera might be functional. So this is a great way to you put a hot shoe or cold shoe, light meter external, and you meter and you shoot away, because that's no problem. But again, it's from Reflex RFLX light meter is there. Then we have TT Artisans with a 100mm M42 lens. This is very interesting in the sense that TT Artisans has been making Leica M mount and Fuji X and digital mounts, stuff like that, lenses. But this is the first lens that comes out for M42, which has been, air quote, a dead mount for probably decades by now. But this lens is obviously very easy to adapt to mirrorless cameras and other things, even EF cameras, so you can mount them to a Canon 1N or 1V if you want and shoot. But it has that bubbly bokeh that people love. It's kind of a copy of a Trioplan, if I'm not mistaken. One thing to note is this lens is very inexpensive, and another thing to note is it doesn't have automatic diaphragm or aperture. That means that when you want to take a picture, you have to stop it down and then take a picture. It doesn't do it automatically. M42 lenses with automatic diaphragm was the thing for decades. I don't know why they've reverted to the very early versions of M42, because it's kind of annoying. And no article that I've seen, they all look sponsored if you ask me, has mentioned that this diaphragm or aperture doesn't seem to be automatic. I'm talking about this by seeing one picture I've seen in all the reviews of the back, and usually it has a little pin that can be pushed by the camera mount. It has like a little lip that just kicks it and closes the aperture to f8, and then boom, takes your picture. So make sure if you buy this, you understand that, or you're okay with stopping down yourself, taking a picture, and go for it. A lot of people have said that the whole point of this lens is to shoot it wide open, so take that with a pinch of salt. Then we have Jobo with a new processor. Jobo has joined the small, affordable processors, and they've come out with the 440 Jobo Silver Base. This is literally a motor with a magnet and some metal tubes, or whatever sticks, and a roller system on top. So this Jobo is theoretically sort of submergible, but you're putting electricity in there. I guess it's not sealed for splashing it underwater or submerging it, but it has a clearance. But it says it's a dry table thing. This is trying to push towards the black and white developing, because you're doing it at room temperature on 20 degrees Celsius, 69 Fahrenheit, if I'm not wrong. So this processor runs around 400 euros. Like I said, it has an on, off, and that's it. Works with a Jobo magnet, with Jobo tanks. They sell it with a tank, without a tank. You can choose. But it's cool to see Jobo doing something new. They've been, selling products that were made a long time ago, but no new developments per se in the processor side of things. I still want an automatic Jobo, like an ATL, just again. Then Kodak has released the Eclectachrome H35N camera. This is Kodak, I don't even know which Kodak it is nowadays, has sold the permission to name stuff Kodak to Reto Photo, R-E-T-O, Pro, and they basically can put the name on almost anything. They've done the film cases that are metallic, they're kind of cool. And now this is a half frame, 35mm, fixed aperture, fixed speed camera. What does it do? 72 pictures on a roll of 36. Is kind of fuzzy wuzzy lens, kind of sharp, kind of not great. But this is the bee's knees in the world today. If you go on YouTube and you find this camera, but not the half frame version, but the normal version, and I think they even made a half frame before this, they sold a ton of them, and there's content that has hundreds of thousands of views. So this is popular for sure. So good move on then. I hope that Kodak, the actual Kodak, gets like 50 cents per camera sold as a license fee, because that would be good. But if not, whatever. You can choose. Then we have PPP Repairs, based in the UK. Piero, a nice guy, who's making spare parts for cameras because he repairs cameras. Obviously, spare parts don't grow on trees anymore. So nowadays, he's making the RZ67 bottom cover replacement. If you are a Mamiya RZ owner, you know what I mean. The bottom has this plastic that has become very brittle and kind of decomposes. So he's made, obviously it's not the new injection molded plastic fantastic like it used to be in the Mamiya days. It's a replacement probably from, SLS printing, MJF or something like that. But it covers so your camera doesn't look like it's missing its feet. The bottom of the RZ67. This is really cool. If you own a RZ and it's missing, I've been asked multiple times here at the store, can you guys sell the replacements? Well, we don't, but he does. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Cinestill with the 4x5 400D film. This was advertised on the Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign. I guess it wasn't a Kickstarter. I think they did it on their own platform, but it was on the crowdfunding campaign that they did, or pre-sales 400D. They mentioned 35, 120, 4x5, and at the end 220. Let's not talk about that. But 4x5 has been in the roadmap for them to produce because they said they would for a very long time. There's been major issues, I guess, in the manufacturing of this. Obviously, 4x5 is not a simple thing to cut, at least not to standard, and with a notch and everything. But it seems they're having the first sheets and the test samples. I'll put a picture on the news now. That is coming soon. So for those who have been patiently, and not very patiently waiting, because I get asked like every now and then, this is coming soon. 4x5, new color 4x5. And yes, Cinestill is not coating film in their own factory. That's obvious. It's not so simple to coat film, color film nowadays. But this is a stock that you can't buy from other players. So pretty cool to see in 4x5. And 4x5 has only had like Kodak color for so long. It's kind of fun to see. And people have said the 400D is pretty cool. I haven't shot it myself yet. Then we have Mint with the 35mm camera updates. So I mentioned it in the past news with Destin, but they were talking about the LiDAR and stuff, but this one is actual examples of one of the prototypes of pictures. So take it with a grain of salt. Pictures are as a proof of concept, but the camera seems to shoot, seems to be sort of in focus, has some light leaks, but he's working on it. This is a prototype, that's the whole point of it. But this seems to be more of a reality than we expected, or at least faster than I expected. So yeah, that's pretty cool from Mint. As always, that is the news. You have a link to my email if you forgot something. Like I said, again, go check Eclectachrome on YouTube for other film news or more film news or the same film news, because there's a second player now in the film news on YouTube, which is really, really cool. And yeah, have a nice time. And thanks to our sponsors for sponsoring the news. See you in the next one. Bye.